I know you just got engaged a few months ago. Is there any update now on wedding planning? Have you thought a little bit more about when you might want to do it or where you want to do it?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it. You know, I think along with a lot of the couples who will be signing up for this event, we got engaged with the idea that we wanted to get married and wanted to get married fairly soon. There's a lot of, great things about committing to your partner and starting that life together. And plans have had to change. And unfortunately and fortunately, it gives us more time to plan. So we are going to be getting married in Nashville, Tennessee. We have decided that. We have our guest list finalized. We have our wedding planners picked out. We've started the process of doing the small details of this. And I hope by the time our actually wedding happens, which we're thinking November of next year, okay. One of the side notes is because people are going to be like, November, that's crazy. Well, my fiance's brother plays professional baseball. And so the thought is he's going to be in baseball till October of next year. And so we want him there. And so it's kind of a really good way for us to slow ride this process, get all the details sorted out, no stress. So when that big day comes, we can celebrate. And who knows what celebration is going to look like then. If we have to change our plans and maybe get married virtually, we can do it, but at least we'll have the details finalized.
Yeah, I know you guys decided early on that no sex until you get married. Was that something also playing into the getting married and either now or later? Because it could be a while before things go back to normal.
Yes, that has a huge role in it. I mean, I think for us, I think people assume we've done that just simply based on our faith. And that is a huge part of it. But it's also a commitment that I made to Jessica and we made to each other when we first started dating, that we want to try to do this the right way, because we knew very early on that this was the real deal. This was a thing that was moving towards marriage. And we thought that would be a really special thing for us to share and to save. But you don't want to save it for too long. I think if you go too long, it's like, it feels almost like, torture in a sense. It's not fun.
Right.
And so, yes, it does play a role in our timeline. But at the same time, I think we both understand the responsibility that our timing might not be what we hoped it would be. And it's not what we expected it to be, a year ago when we started talking proposal.
Yeah, absolutely. I know at one point you and Jess were long distance dating. And now, things have changed with the quarantine. I think you guys are in lockdown together. Did that change the relationship, spending more time together in person all day long?
It did in the best ways. If I'm honest, I think Jess and I both had this thought like, hey, this is awesome. Like, we have a blast with each other. We love each other. She is the most empathetic, supportive person. That woman doesn't want me to be anything but the best version and the most expanded version of myself. And for me, like, I just can't imagine having a partner other than her. Like, she is just the best teammate to me. And I hope she would say the same about me. I don't want to say that for her. But we did do long distance. And the quarantine happened. We were able to be together. And this is crazy. For the first time ever, we were able to spend more than 10 days consecutively together. Wow. During this quarantine. It's been, 3 months now that we've been on lockdown together. And it's only gotten better as a couple. We figured out, what we need. Like, I need space. She would cuddle on the couch, with me. She always jokes that she just wants to go into my pocket and just sit there. I can't do that. But, we've realized our rhythms and our flows and what we need from each other. And that only happens because of our time spent together. And so this has been a really, amidst the chaos and amidst the hard things about COVID, we've been able to really benefit from time spent.
What was the most surprising thing you learned about each other when spending more time together?
I think for me, I know this is going to sound terrible. The fact that I'm an only child. And so I want to give a little context to the fact that I've never really had to share and be around somebody too much. And it's always been a worry of mine that I'd find a partner and I would, in a sense, get sick of them. So one of the most surprising things is I've never gotten sick of her. Like, I enjoy seeing her. Maybe the most surprising thing is, and I'm not kidding, so we don't share the same room. Mark, this is God's honest truth to you. Every morning when I wake up and I walk into my bedroom, she's an early riser. She wakes up at like 6 o'clock. I probably get up about 6:30. She sees me walk out of my room and she just like lights up. Like she goes, like she didn't think I was ever going to come out again. That's another surprising thing. If I can wake up to somebody that excited to see me, at least, I mean, I get that it's going to fade. Maybe if I can get a good year out of that, man, I'm a lucky dude.
You are. And now that you have your wedding plans more solidified,
Yeah.
What's the vision? What's the dream for you guys on that special day?
Yeah, for us, we've talked a lot about weddings are a lot of fun, and they're a great celebration. But we understand that we're going to have people coming from all over the country, friends and family, to celebrate with us. And we really want this to be a celebration of them as well. And so this whole wedding has been planned around allowing it to be a worthwhile trip for them. Like we want them leaving going, wow, not only was the wedding fun and the reception was great and beautiful and exciting, but leading up to it, those days were fun. We have memories made. We were able to explore. And so we've really tried to cater this wedding to say, this is about us. This is our celebration. Like this is a celebration of Jess and I. Yeah. But let's also focus on what does the guest want? Like what do they need? And so you're going to see a lot of a more party aspect, like probably food trucks instead of a sit-down dinner. You're going to see only thing I want. I've asked for one thing and one thing only. I've asked for a tequila and bourbon bar. Like I want people to go up and get like some of the coolest tequila and some of the best bourbon they've ever had in this like cool like lounge area. So we're going to make that happen. And the rest of it, Jess's only request, it's funny, she wants to just have a tent. And I'm not kidding. She wants one of those white tents with lights in it. That's her only like wedding dream. So we're going to make that happen.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Outside of your good news, there's a ton of news going on in Bachelor Nation right now. Your season is going to be on The Greatest Ever. It's airing really, really soon on ABC. Are you and Jess going to watch it together, do you think?
No. I've been through it, so I've seen it. It's not hard for me to watch back because I know what to expect. But Jess will not be watching it. She doesn't have a desire to watch it. She doesn't want to see, she is my partner, and I want her to know that. I don't want her to feel any sort of heartbreak or sadness from that. So she'll make an appearance on the show, but she will not be watching it. I think she's decided, and if she wanted to, I'd let her. I mean, I don't really want to tell her what to do. But she just asked me that she won't watch it, and so she's gonna get through that day and probably the week afterwards with all the comments about my season, and then we'll move on. But it's not healthy, I don't think, for her to probably watch it.
How do you feel about seeing it back on TV? Does it bring up any kind of old emotions for you?
Jess and I were talking about this last night, and no, I think there are going to be emotions of kind of like some nostalgia on this was a great experience for me. It changed my life forever and in the best ways for the most part. And it's expanded my life in ways I never could have imagined. Now, obviously you have breakups and relationships involved in the show. And I don't regret any of those. I've learned from a lot of that. And so for me, I'll watch it, when I see it back, it's more of a, now kind of looks back on like, it was all on my way to Jess. And I'll see it that way. I believe it's that way. I believe everything led me to this point in my life. And so there's no like raw emotion as much of, wow, like that was me trying to figure this out, not knowing that at the end of all this, I would be with the girl I love, not even from the show at all. But Mark, I mean, let's be honest. Like I was a small town Indiana kid who moved. This has expanded everything, and I'm really grateful for that.
I mean, it's been a huge thing for you, and it's really moved your life forward in an amazing way. Are you in contact with JoJo or Lauren? Have you guys talked about, the season airing again?
Not Lauren. We haven't talked. She's married. It's not, I'm happy for her, and she found her partner, and it wouldn't, I mean, if she reached out saying, hey, how are you going to handle this? This is what's sensitive to me. I would love to take that call from her, but I don't think I'm needed in this moment for her. JoJo and I are good friends. I have a lot of respect for her and Jordan. Same kind of thing. If she has a man and a confidant by her side that she probably leans in on. If I saw her, I actually saw her in the airport last year. It was awesome to see her and Jordan together. But we don't keep in close contact. I think just because for me, and probably for them, it wouldn't be healthy. It's not smart.
I can tell you this: everyone at Us Weekly adores you. You have so many fans here, and you're known as the Bachelor who just treated all the women so kindly, and my friends adore you. There's one moment that people still talk about, which was you telling two women at the same time that you love them. Is that something you regret at all, or is it just part of the experience that you went through?
I don't know if regret would be the right word. Because it's how I felt, which is messed up and not great when you then break up and propose to somebody in the same day. Now, I wish I would have been wise enough I think there's some power in not saying too much. And I thought at the time, I still remember this. I was sitting in my room when I was walking out to go on these dates, and I thought, I want both of these women, knowing that one of them was going to leave, to know truly how I felt, because I really wanted them to be, I think at the time I was naive enough to think that it was a way to reassure them when they left that this was the real deal, that I really did care about them both.
Right.
I just don't think I chose the right words, and I don't think it was healthy for the long term and the longevity of either relationship. So necessarily don't regret it because it is how I felt. Don't think it was the wisest thing to do, especially 2 days before you broke up with one of them.
Yeah. Chris Harrison got a little backlash this week. He asked Pilot Pete's two exes if they would ever get back with him. And Pilot Pete's girlfriend was upset, and she took to Twitter and said that was disrespectful. How do you feel about it, and how would you feel if Chris did that to you?
Oh, I think I've always what came to this whole thing. I mean, the Bachelor world is, don't get me wrong. The Bachelor is wild and weird, and there's not a lot of normalcy to the whole experience. And so Chris asking those questions, is it disrespectful? Probably. But yes, it is. It's disrespectful to Kelly. But as a host of a show, those are the questions you need to ask, because what if the answer for one of them was, yeah, I'd think about it. As fans of the show, we want to know where everybody's at, where the relationships lie. We haven't heard from Hannah Ann or Maddie since the finale. And so for us as fans, it's a recap. It's a, what happened? Where are you at? Do you miss him? Do you desire him back? All they had to say was no, and then it's good. But I think as a host, the best job you can do is make sure you ask the tough questions. And that's a tough question. If he did it to me today, I would have, and if Jess was by my side, I'd say that's really disrespectful to Jess. This is probably hurting her just to think about. And the answer is no, not at all, not even a slimmer of, possibility. And then we'd move on, but at least the question was asked.
Switching gears, so for the first time in 18 years and 40 seasons, The Bachelor has casted a Black male lead on the show. Matt James, what are your thoughts? Are you happy? Are you surprised?
Not surprised. I don't think it's shocking at all for multiple reasons. One, I think you have, Rachel Lindsay had said it was a knee-jerk reaction. It may have been. I'm sure they felt the pressure, but that's what Bachelor Nation was kind of doing, was putting pressure on The Bachelor to make a decision, to move on, to pick a lead that is Black or is of color. And so for me, I think it's a great thing. One, because I don't know Matt very well. I was in a fantasy football league with him. But he seems like a great dude and a guy who's looking for love and a guy who will represent the show well, and a man who checks the boxes when it comes to somebody that somebody will love to date and be a partner with. So not shocking. It's definitely time. I think everybody can agree on that. That stat, you would know. I think you just said it's like 40 seasons, one lead that was Black. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's wild to even think about. And hopefully this is raising now the bar for the Bachelor to say we're going to continue to try harder than we already have previously. And if that, in 5 years, if you ask me this question, what was it, what looking back, I hope we can go, oh, this is being Matt James being the Bachelor led on to a ripple effect of amazing things happening in the Bachelor world where diversity was lifted up and celebrated, and different cultures and different people were celebrated. But that's 5 years from now. Right now, I think it's a great move. I'm super pumped for the season. And I think the Bachelor is their knee-jerk reaction of sorts was a really good decision.
What are your thoughts about the franchise not choosing Mike Johnson as the next Bachelor?
I interviewed Mike on the Almost Famous podcast this last week, and I asked him why. And he says, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't think the show has came out with any type of information. All I know is this, especially with me, and because I can only speak from my experience, they have reasons for everything. And they know more than any of us know. And so there had to be a reason, because Mike is loved. He is a part of this franchise. But if he doesn't know why, then I don't know why. And the show hasn't told us why. But I would say there's always a reason for everything. Now, is it sad? I mean, it's unfortunate for Mike. But that's about the only person that really suffers from this, I think. I think now we can all say, hey, we're excited about Matt. And I think that's what Mike's going to do, and that's what he's already done. But it's sad for him that, I think he thought this was his shot, and it's not going to be that way.
So we reported that ABC did not give Claire the heads up that Matt James would be announced as the Bachelor. Do you think she should have been told?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think this whole thing's hard. And I think one of the mistakes here, and the Bachelor will have to work on this, is, we still have Claire's season to be a part of. And I know what it feels like to be announced as the lead. And I know what the world feels like when you do, like, everything. Like, you imagine your love story. You imagine the people you're going to meet. You imagine what it's going to be like to walk into the mansion on night one. You imagine the dates and all of these things. And that's exciting. And it's unfortunate that due to a lot of different things, that now Claire's season right now feels to be taking a back seat to the next Bachelor season. Right. But we all need to take another step back and go, no, we still have a Bachelorette season to watch. We have Claire's love story that we've all been excited about to be a part of. But I'm sure for Claire, there's this what about me thought. I mean, at least I would. Like, I would be feeling that. Like, what about my few moments on television to find my love story? Like, can I still get that? Because I got really excited about that. Like, I don't want that ripped away from me right now. And so the show's going to have to work really hard, I think, to make sure that her season feels special, is special, and that it's not just consistently looking forward to the future, so fans can really focus on her story being played out as well.
So switching gears outside of this, you spoke out about Hannah B using the N-word on her Instagram Live, and you got a little backlash for saying that it was not cool, it was inappropriate. Have you been in contact with Hannah B? Where do you stand with her right now and her apology?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the mistakes I made with that was I came out saying, hey, I think it was a bad decision. And I think initially her first apology, now I want to be clear, is the first apology was not one that I got any, as a friend or a fan, whatever you want to call me at this point, or as a part of the franchise, I didn't feel like I got any clarity on where she stood after that first apology. So I just said, like, I don't think it was a good step for her. I don't know where she sits. And 2 weeks later, we still didn't know where she sat. And I'll still say it, like, what she said is not good. Using the N-word is not something that any of us should be doing. It's not a good representation of any person, and it's not a good word to use ever. And I'll stick by that. That was a mistake for Hannah. Now, now's her apology and her admittance to learning and her admittance of being wrong is something I think we should all accept. Now, I don't know if I sit in a seat where I can really accept, her apology. I sit in a seat of, hey, I get that you're trying and I can respect that. My mistake was this, to go back to what I said, is I didn't ever want to communicate an idea of canceling Hannah or a cancel culture or, hey, because Hannah made a mistake, we should forget about her. The opposite. Because Hannah made a mistake, we should all learn from it, especially once her second apology happened and she admitted to being wrong. Then it's like, Hannah, we've all made mistakes. We've all done things that, we lay in bed at night and go, I wish I never would have said that or done that. But I just was waiting to hear it. And so, yes, what she did was wrong. Don't support it. Think it was a terrible decision. But we should also now be ready to embrace her and say, hey, we'll all be learning together now.
Do you think, because she has a big platform like you and other people on the show, do you think she has a responsibility to do better going forward? Is there anything you'd like to see her do?
I don't know if I necessarily am a person that can say, hey, this is what she should do. I think what I've done and what I've understood here recently is like, we all need to be educated. This is a great wake-up call to all of us to say, what actions do we all have in our lives that are systematically racist? What things have we done to push people, Black people, African Americans, people of color away? And what privileges do we communicate and live within that are unhealthy for the masses? We should all be asking those questions. I don't care where you sit and how anti-racist you are. You should be asking those questions. I also do think with a platform, there is a stewardship and a responsibility to speak wisely, to be careful with your words. That is a gift most of the time, but it's also a responsibility. And yes, I think Hannah, I think myself, I think anybody needs to handle that carefully and not and not forget that people are watching and that people are learning from the things that the Bachelor world does. Mark, we go from being, again, people working at a software company, for me, to be on a show where 13 million people watch.
Yeah,
it's a quick transition, and we all need to be ready to be better. And I hope Hannah becomes better. That's my hope for Hannah. What she should do is continue to be educated like she is, to continue to learn, continue to speak out, continue to be anti-racist. And we can all start learning consistently every day, every second, every moment together. That's what I hope she does. That's what I hope I do. That's what I hope you do.
Yeah. So one of my close friends actually casted The Bachelor for 5 years and picked Rachel Lindsay to be on the show. She came out recently and said the show told her not to cast a Black female that had braids or had certain features. Were you surprised to learn that there were some kind of rules in place prior to their decision to move forward with the Black lead again?
I'm learning that from you right now. I haven't heard that come out yet. I haven't thought about it. Typically, my first reaction is never a great one. But yes, that is wrong. So I think that's a good stance. I think I'll be believing that stance for the rest of my life. That's messed up. And if that is true, now I don't know, like I said, I'm learning it from you. So I don't know the source. I don't know the context. But if what you just said is completely true, then that is a good sign that everybody needs to get better. Like that is not okay. It should not be, that is not the way we should see people. We should be celebrating humans for who they are, where they're from, what they've done. And that would be really unfortunate if that is the case. And I hope, if that is true, whoever gave those orders, whoever's in leadership there, would be held accountable and also start to learn themselves. So that's just not good. There's nothing about that that's good.
You're close friends with Becca Kufrin, and she recently came out. Her fiance had said some questionable things, and now she might be reconsidering her engagement. What's the latest with her, and how do you feel about it?
It's tough, man. I spent a lot of time with him on tour. We were doing the Bachelor Live on Stage tour together, and Garrett was there for a lot of it. I actually learned this morning, I was at a coffee shop picking up a cup of coffee, and I was walking outside to get back in my car, and I saw the headline come across that she had admitted that they were struggling, or that they were trying to process it, or she was trying to process it. It hurts because I know how good they can be, and I know how hard this situation is for them. I have talked to Becca about that. And any time relationships end, it's tough. But I also know that you need to be with somebody that, morally, that you agree with. I don't know, what Garrett is standing on these days. I haven't heard him really respond with, hey, this is what I meant, or this is how I feel. It's just hard to walk through this, especially as a couple. It's really tough. I can't say anything more than I've seen them together. I've seen how much they love each other. But I know this is a unique scenario that is probably raising some really good and healthy and deep conversations for them. Things I would hope they would figure out before they would get married. And if they disagree, then it is best that they separate. For Jess and I, we spend a lot of time talking about this stuff. What do you feel? What do you think? Tell me honestly, what is it in your life that you feel like you are maybe wrong on, or some opinions we disagree on? And if those ever became in between our relationships on the outside, I think we'd have some big issues. And it sounds like they are confronting that right now.
Yeah. Speaking of making compromises, you and your girlfriend, Jess, or fiance, you guys are from different parts of the country. Have you decided where you're going to end up and live together?
Yeah, we're going to be in Denver for a while. Her family's in Franklin, Tennessee. My family's in Winona Lake, Indiana. And it's important for Jess and I to have our own life for a bit, to leave and to explore and to be a couple. But we ultimately want to be back closer to family. Where that is, I don't know yet. My parents are getting more and more interested in being away from the cold weather. So who knows where they end up. But Denver for now. We'll be in Denver for years to come. I got a couple restaurants here that I opened up last year, a couple coffee shops. And so, our world is really rooted here in Denver for a bit.
Do you think you could raise a family there? Have you guys talked about the idea of doing that?
Yeah, we have. Denver's an amazing place. If it came to that, I think this would be a great place to raise a family. Here's my one issue with Denver. There's very little water. And I love the lake, and I love water, and I love boats. I love to be out on a pontoon.
Yeah.
Denver doesn't have any of that. And so that's one thing that I go, when I'm I already got some grays. When I get more gray, I need to be around water a little bit more. That's the only downside right now. If somebody can figure out how to fix that in Denver, then maybe we'll stay and raise a family here. But if not, we might be having to look for a lake in a few years.
Do you have an idea of how many kids you'd want if you start a family?
Well, she comes from a family of 3 siblings, and 3 in total. And I'm an only child. I would love to have 2 kids. The other part of that, and when I say 2 kids, I don't know what that looks like. Jess and I are very interested in adopting. I definitely am excited about the idea of adopting. So if that means that we have 2 adopted kids, if that means we have 3 adopted kids, if that means we have kids that are biologically ours, I don't know yet. But we definitely want a family. I don't want a massive family. If you knew me personally, I'm a pretty big introvert, and I really do enjoy my time alone. And a huge family of chaos kind of makes me anxious. But I do want our kids to have siblings if possible, to grow up in this world with. And part of the stuff we've been talking about recently is just how cool it would be when and how we can adopt, because it would be such a gift to our family, I think, to do that. Especially, honestly, Mark, during this experience of having to become, not having to, but for the first time really talking about, what does different culture look like? What does life look like for people that don't grow up in the Midwest and are not white like me? And I want to learn that, and I want my kids to be experiencing that, and I want a family that experiences that and loves that and celebrates that. And so part of this came recent with like, how cool would it be if we have a family of all different cultures coming together to celebrate each other? Like that is like heaven to me. That sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome. And how soon would you want to do an adoption if you could after you get married?
Jess is turning 25 tomorrow, and I am 31. You know, I think for us as a couple, we have done long distance. It's important for us to spend some time with just Jess and I. I don't know the exact timeline. If I had to throw a date out there, it would be like a year and a half to 2.5 years that we would start the process and of trying to figure out what, you know, the kid situation is going to look like. But I want a good year with her to just have fun as friends and as a couple and to explore. I won't even let man, I sound like I'm just telling her what to do right now. She wants a dog, and we travel a lot. So like right now, I'm not even in support of getting a dog because I want like the freedom. So kids would add on to that and probably come after she gets her puppy.
Got it. Going back to just one last question about The Bachelor, COVID-19 has changed the world as we know it. And that includes reality TV, filming a show. What changes do you expect to see on The Bachelor? And do you think people will be as likely to hook up like on the first date as they were in the past?
No. I mean, I haven't shook a hand or hugged somebody in like 3 months. So I can't imagine showing up on night one and kissing. Yeah, I'm imagining everybody. One of the big changes is I'm imagining everybody's going to get tested and probably continually get tested on the show. So you will know the health of the contestants and the lead. You know, the physical intimacy is important in relationships. So I still imagine you're going to have that. I just think it might be a little slower. There'll be some precautions taking place that the show puts in probably. I think one of the biggest changes to the show is the lack of travel. I don't see them being able to go across the globe anytime soon freely like we did during our seasons. I think you'll see a lot more centralized regional experiences. That's going to be unfortunate because one of the favorite parts of the show is seeing the different places and different cities. But I think it's the right thing for The Bachelor to do. And ultimately, if we're real fans, we love the chaos and the drama, but we also love the love story. And those things can still happen, I promise you, no matter where you're at in the world.